Hello, everyone. My name is Amber Symone, and I am your host of the Keep It Cute pod. Each week, I'll be bringing you hot topics on relationships and dating, culture, career, and so much more. And this week in particular, I have a very special guest by the name of Brandon Towns, and he's my partner, the love of my life, and he is, I don't know what else to say about you.
Amazing, extravagant, the best thing to ever happen to you. So many things to say about
goodness.
me.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Amber, for having me on your show.
You're welcome.
Exciting first show.
Yes,
Getting this bad boy off the ground.
Yeah, I've been dreaming about it. Like, not since I was a child, but literally in my dreams.
All right.
How are you doing today, Brandon?
I'm doing amazing on this fine Sunday evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Honestly, I've been working on getting these microphones set up today. It was kind of sticky in the beginning. We all know that it takes work. Everything is not perfect, but I am excited to launch this first episode of the Keep It Cute pod. So, since today we're talking about dating, relationships, and so much more, we are going to be focusing on stories from Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, whatever it may be, and pulling personal stories and just, I don't want to say chatting shit up.
And just chatting shit up. Let's run with it.
This is true. This is true. All right. So before we jump into our first topic of the day, I really want to give you all an intro into who is your host and who the heck is Brandon Towns. So Brandon, would you like to start us off?
Sure. She's saying my whole government, so my I actually go by Be Smooth.
Oh God.
And so I'm 27, currently a medical student, grew up a military kid, so kind of bounced around a lot. Landed in LA when I was like 11 or so and been here ever since, and I'm a Bruin.
Go Bruins. Love to hear that. I am your host, Amber Symone Watkins. I was born in Inglewood. I grew up in Compton, California, and I was raised in Victorville, California. After that, as Brandon may have mentioned, we met at UCLA, so we are both UCLA Bruins.
Ooh.
And I have been a creator my entire life. Shout out to moms, because I always say she is the original content creator when Instagram, MySpace, even video cameras, when there wasn't the technology to even be a content creator. She always had a green screen. So those are 3 fun facts about me. And just to jump into our relationship as a unit. So Brandon, would you like to tell the audience how we met?
How we met. Let's go. Let's take it back. So I'll take y'all back to, what was it? That was 20.
Wow, he doesn't remember.
No, that was 2016.
Whoa.
2016. That was 2016.
Whoa.
All right. So if y'all know or not, but UCLA has a tradition called Undie Run. And essentially, it might sound kind of weird, but every finals week, the Wednesday of finals week.
Sounds dirty.
People strip down to their underwear and they run around the entire UCLA campus. And when I say people, I mean it is thousands of people across LA. And it happens every single finals week.
My grandma does not approve this message.
And of course, we're college students. So after the Undie Run, which happens at midnight, there's after functions. So, and these after functions tend to be at the apartments around UCLA. So one of these parties, I get there a little early and I go to the apartment. I see this little baddie, just sitting on the floor playing with this. It's like a ring light attachment for your phone. Like, that's how extra this girl is.
I'm just a creator. I told y'all, I am a creator.
Y'all, we are in Southern California. So, it doesn't get colder than about maybe mid-60s on a bad day. This girl is in a complete fur coat. Complete fur coat with the ring light attachment on her phone. That's who's chilling in the apartment.
Grams taught me.
Yeah, so I'm like, who is this? So, what I'm saying? Just go up there, start talking, and going back and forth pretty good. And that was it. Quick little, very, very innocent conversation. Then after that, of course, your girl slid in the boys' DMs.
Why you gotta say it like that? That just,
because you did.
I slid.
That was a
DMs.
that was
like
a
it
DM.
was raunchy.
That was a DM.
It was
slide.
the most wholesome DM you may have ever received.
It was wholesome.
It was wholesome. So I had a YouTube at the time, and that was my very first outlet as a digital creator. And I asked him to create a banner for me. All I wanted was a YouTube banner, like,
All she wanted was YouTube banner.
and then got a man, but that's another story.
All she wanted was a banner, all right.
And I never got that banner, but I got him though. So
You did get a banner.
I never got the banner.
You got
Brandon.
You wanted
I
a drawing,
never got
and
the
you
brand-
got the drawing.
No, I wanted a banner. A banner is so much different than a drawing because a YouTube banner has like your socials on it, has taglines, you know, the whole nine. It's not just a portrait. A portrait is a part of a banner.
So I have failed
Essentially, it's been 5 years
to meet
later,
your original slide.
and your girl
intent.
never got her banner. However, to back up his case, I have gotten portraits. He is the ultimate photographer. I was She-Hulk for Halloween this year, and guys, that was a massive success. I have to give all kudos to BT Aesthetics _.
Hey.
Is it before or after the BT?
Ooh, that's a good question.
See, can't even plug you. I'm
It's
sorry.
after the BT Aesthetics. BT Aesthetics _ for sure.
Anyways, so continue your story. Never got the banner. Supposedly slid in your DMs.
You know what I'm saying? Supposedly. I have evidence. You know what I'm saying? If I have to bring it up, I will. But yeah, slid in the DMs. She wanted a portrait for a YouTube banner, which apparently
Why
she never
the
got.
quotation marks? For my audio listeners, he's in here doing quotations.
Yeah. But after that, like, just the epitome of just having fun. Like, it went from us just busting random missions around LA. And at this point, so I used to draw. I used to go to art school when I was younger, but I never did photography, never really held a camera like that. This girl put a camera in my hand, of course, to take pictures of her. And, you know, after a while, I was like, you know, I actually really like this. And from there, those kind of random trips around LA turned into random photo shoots around LA. And then we even left LA. We started going to San Francisco. We started to go other places just in kind of like the local areas. And that kind of blossomed into what we are today, 5 years and some change later.
This is true. So, you know, there's a few holes in Brandon's story.
I got the main points.
You did. I'm not going to lie.
I
you
got
did.
the essentials.
I
damn
think
it.
I'm just a little salty about the banner, but we'll get over it because we're starting anew. And he is my guest on the first episode of Keep It Cute Pod. All right, now that you all know a little bit more about Brandon and I'm going to jump into our first story. It's titled, Our Rock Solid Relationship Imploded in a Single Night and I'm Completely Blindsided. Imploded, as they say.
We went for the drama effect on this one. All right, let's hear it.
So insert yourself into this story. Think about you as either the partner or the storyteller.
I am inserted. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Hold on now. All right. My partner, 25 male, is my 26 female, Rock, and I'm his. Literally, he tells me that all the time, including yesterday. Oh, I read that that's how they wrote it, though.
Hey, if they're illiterate, just
Brandon, don't
read it on the
say
screen.
that.
Let's get it.
Say that. We've been together for 5 years and have a truly wonderful relationship. Always talking, laughing, comfortable with one another, able to communicate even when we disagree. After I survived abuse as a child and struggled with unhealthy romantic relationships in the past, the fact that we love each other in a respectful, secure, and profoundly healthy way is truly my biggest blessing, and I wake up every day so happy and grateful for him. He is an incredible man with so much drive, intelligence, kindness, and gifts to give to the world.
So I'm guessing this is before the implosion.
This is before the implosion.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
this man
honestly,
like
this sounds
Jesus.
beautiful.
He sounds like Jesus.
I was like, oh man.
I'm disappointed to know this is not going to be the end of the story.
I might have to take one of these from Instagram captions. Pretty beautiful.
So this is how you get your this is how you get your caption content.
I swear, no, it's all from the
good to
heart,
know.
sweetie.
Good to know.
It's all from the heart.
Good to know. Noted.
Continuing, about a year and a half ago, it came up for the first time that we saw ourselves getting married one day. It was such a beautiful moment, and it rocked my world to have been vulnerable, said those words, and have him say them too. Since then, it's been something incredibly happy that I get to hold in my heart and look forward to. The subject has come up sporadically since then, but I haven't wanted to push it too far since we are young And it is very much an eventually thing. Both of our parents are divorced, and his come from money. He got a lot of strong advice growing up not to marry young and to protect his assets, to see it from a more financial view than I have ever thought of. Protect your assets. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you should 100% protect your assets. See,
Okay. Explain, elaborate.
Marriage is obviously, love is a very important thing, especially I feel like in America in our current day and age. But also too, it is a business arrangement.
Well, also too, I'm going to debate you on that. When you say in our day and age, I feel like it depends how old you are, because I feel like in our generation, I see less and less people getting married, or they get married later, especially as you further your education.
I mean, I agree, but what I meant by our day and age is like, if you do get married, which less of us are, I agree, you're typically marrying for love. Like there's an attachment there.
Okay.
But at the same time, that's not the only thing that marriage means. It's also still, at the end of the day, a financial agreement to some degree.
Yes.
And we have someone like this man, apparently he comes from money. I love that for him. I wish that was me. But
don't we all?
That being said, like, you have to remember, like, you can't just be coming in with your assets and not thinking kind of proactively about how to protect them, and what, if things did go wrong, what does that look like for your future?
Yes.
You can't be blind going into marriage, because it's not just lovey-dovey. This is a business deal.
It is.
Boom.
All right. I am continuing the story. Nevertheless, the thought makes me happy, and we often daydream about the future we'll build together. The little house in New Hampshire we hope to buy, and the dogs and chickens we'll have. Chickens.
Stay out here playing about chickens.
These are conversations he participates in and brings up on his own all the time.
The chickens or the marriage?
I think it's the chickens. No, I kid. It's definitely the marriage. Stop being silly. I want to be able to talk casually about the marriage aspect too. Go to bed with a sleepy, can't wait to marry you, or love of my life. But for some reason, recently...
Here comes the butt. I've been waiting for this.
But
everything's been nice, but where's the butt? Come on.
It has been actually very dreamy.
No, forget all that. Come on, bring back to reality. What's going on?
All right.
What's the deal?
But for some reason, recently, whenever the subject has come up, he's clammed up and made it feel really serious. This culminated maybe 2 months ago with a really weird conversation in which I sensed he might not have processed what marriage really means to him in the way that I had, and that he hasn't been ready to talk about it in this way, or that I was, or as much as he had let on. I told him I don't want to put a gun to his head. This is just something that makes me happy to think about and talk about. And I tell him everything. I said I love him for him. I'd wait as long as he needs, but that I firmly didn't want to bring up the subject again until he was comfortable discussing it. I wanted to relieve the pressure on him, and I haven't mentioned it since. So let's take a pause and think about a few key points that I noticed.
Go hit. What's your points? Come on, hit me.
So
hit
one
me,
thing I noticed, she says,
okay.
I'd wait as long as he needs. Ladies, don't wait around for no man.
How's it go? Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
If any of you are on TikTok, you will 100% get that reference. But it's just saying stop being weak in the knees. And I think there is one thing to highlight. Yes, they are both young, 26 and 25, I believe is what she mentioned at the beginning. However, if she has this dire feeling of I love this person, you are my ride or die, and I want to marry you, and he's kind of getting iffy about the idea of marriage, like they should be having that conversation today. Because now...
Do they need to, though? Like, really?
What do you mean, really?
Do they need to have that conversation today?
So when you say conversation, what are you alluding to?
My thing is, if you know a certain conversation topic makes your partner feel uncomfortable, And given the fact that, yes, they are still actually relatively young. Like, it's not
They
like,
are young.
not
They
like you're
are.
hitting your mid 30s. Like, yes, they've been dating. I think you said 5 years at this point. It's been a minute, but also they are still relatively young within that time span. But yeah, so like they're still relatively young within that context, 5 years or not. So like if you have a partner that obviously is feeling uncomfortable about that, to press that issue in this moment, like that's necessary. Like there's a time kind of requirement on it. I think that might be premature, and I don't think it's actually going to work out better in the long term.
Well, I don't necessarily mean that you have to press your partner, but essentially, what are our intentions? Are we being intentional about this relationship? That's like if you get into a relationship and you really want children and your partner does not want children. Don't you think that's something they should know
But
before they further that relationship?
that topic's already been bridged. They've already had past conversations about marriage. You know that he is pro marriage. Maybe he might not be in the
Okay, I
exact.
guess. Okay.
Yeah, so like the conversation, like, oh, do you expect us to get married one day? That's already been that topic has been broached.
What if you lied?
I mean, and what if you talk to him again, nigga lies again? Like he would just stop lying after the first time. But I'm just saying, like, you know that he is pro marriage, and I think at this point, if you do feel like your partner may be a little iffy right now, based on who knows why, is it really necessary to bridge that topic right now in this moment? And I'm saying no, I don't think it is.
Thank you, Brandon, for that commentary. All right, everyone. We are now continuing in 3, 2, 1. Well, yesterday we spent a really lovely day getting lunch and hiking with my family. They live far away, so we don't see them very often. My stepsister and her fiance were there as well. And of course, there was a little bit of light conversation about their upcoming wedding. My boyfriend was his usual friendly, easygoing self. I noticed he seemed quiet on the way home and later that evening, so I asked if he was worried about work, but he just said he was tired from a long day of traveling. I made him a drink, kissed him on the forehead like I always do, and promised we could do whatever he wanted to relax that night. Just did what I normally do when I can tell he's stressed. Try to show empathy and take care of him.
Also, too, I think you should always remember too, all this could be happening exactly how she's saying, but also like, whenever someone sounds like a saint
She does sound like an angel.
in the telling
I
of a
think
story,
she's an angel.
you don't know this unknown individual
She's
on
a
the
great
internet.
writer.
But whenever somebody is making themselves sound so saint-like, I always have a little voice in the back of my head saying, like, is this exactly how it happened? Because it's, I don't know.
I know
I'm a
what
little
you mean.
suspicious.
I
I'm
know
a
what
little
you
suspicious.
mean.
I kissed him on the forehead and
Well,
made
maybe
him
she
a
does
drink.
kiss
We
him
can
on the
do whatever
forehead.
you want. Could have happened just like that. Also, this could be partial cap. I'm just saying, but proceed.
Okay. But then, as I'm making dinner, he comes over to me and drops this bomb.
Ooh,
I think this is the bomb. you've
dropping
been
bombs.
waiting
All
on.
right, what's up? What's up? This is the implosion?
I think this might be the implosion.
Oh, we're imploding. Let's go. Let's do it.
He came over to me crying and said spending time with an engaged couple and even barely talking about their wedding had sent him into a panic, and he didn't know if he could ever see himself getting married. I was completely blindsided. I tried to parse what he was saying, but it was like my brain was stuck. Evidently, he had been locking himself in his office at work all week, crying about this. He locked himself in the office.
Crying at work.
Babe, shut up. I kept asking him why he would say he wanted to marry me if he didn't. He said he was lying, basically. That he wanted to give me what he knew I wanted to make me happy.
Did she actually say basically?
But
in the
she
text?
did say basically. I am reading this
I'm like,
word
is that an ad lib?
for word,
Is that an ad lib?
bar for bar.
Okay, proceed. Ignore me.
That's what it said.
Ignore me. Ignore me.
I could only just stare at him open-mouthed. I kept trying to pinpoint if he was saying to me, I don't think I'll be ready to get married for a long time, or I don't think I'll ever be ready to get married, and I really don't think he knows himself. I don't think he has processed marriage at all, and this is the first time it's hitting him. He kept saying stuff about not knowing where his career will lead or if he'll have money. He has a great job, an outstanding network, and is definitely not poor. Neither of us are. And I was just like, we're a partnership. You wanted to be with me yesterday. You want to be with me today. Do you want to be with me tomorrow? Yes, he said. I said, well, that's all what matters. We have a life we love and we'll take on the future together one day. Let's take a pause. Do you have any thoughts about what's happening so far?
If that's the implosion, I'm about to be pissed. Like that dramatic ass title. But like, honestly, he's 25. So taking a step back, the concept of marriage is actually insane as hell. The idea that this is your person for the rest of your days till death do us part.
This is true.
Theoretically.
Like, yeah, technically, some people working on number 6.
There's a little thing called divorce, but
this is true.
It's supposed to be till death do us part. So the actual idea of that's a very heavy concept. So the idea that a 25-year-old is under extreme amount of distress at the concept of that's not that unexpected, in my opinion. I think it's more so, I think the problematic kind of side in my eyes is that like this 25-year-old felt so pressured about going into marriage. He is out here crying at work.
Yeah, that is
like that is the bigger issue. Like a 25-year-old not being ready to get married is not a suddenly new concept. I think that's quite normal, to be honest. That's very normal. But like, why was he feeling this amount of pressure in his relationship to be ready for marriage right at that moment? Because that's what it sounds like he thought he had to do. That's not right.
I can still see both sides because to her, she's not sure if he ever wants to get married. And she obviously wants to get married, but she has also made the statement, I'll wait however long when, if you guys are 60, is she waiting around for him to say, get on one knee?
So she's doing herself a disservice.
No, that is a disservice.
That's not on him.
It's not.
And my thing is, did he make some, based on earlier conversations, did he make some maybe soft promises that he really cannot live up to?
Soft promises.
He didn't say it in stone, but he did set the expectation in her mind. Did he do that? Yes, he did. He shouldn't have done that. But the idea that she's going to just wait around for as long as he needs, that's not on him at that point. That is her setting herself up for failure.
That is a personal decision. And I do think for him, it sounds like he's building his network. I don't know if he's at the peak of his career or what that's looking like. But like I mentioned earlier, people who are in grind mode right now, and not to say that they're not having children, but I feel like those young folks who are in their entrepreneur mode, all they're thinking about is traveling. Getting married at this moment may not be the first thing on their mind.
And while I agree with that as well, even just beyond that, some people just aren't ready to get married.
Whatever, Brandon.
Motherfucker could be working a dead-end job and he might still not be ready to get married. He's young. He is. And I'm not sure if she was hoping that he could promise her, oh yeah, one day I'll be ready. He can't make that promise. He'd be stupid to make that promise because obviously he doesn't know.
No, he would. But also, too, it's like falling into the trap again of course, at night they're saying, oh, I can't wait to get married to you and all these things. And he's bringing it up in conversation himself. And then he told her, actually, I lied to make you feel good. That's not okay.
Here's the thing. I don't even think he lied. You know what I'm saying? So like,
oh, so you know him now?
When something sounds good just theoretically, just to say this shit, it sounds good. I think in the moment he really believed that shit.
No, I don't think he believed that.
I think he really, in that moment, I think he really did believe everything he was saying. But I think at that moment, he didn't know what that actually entailed. I think at some point that shit hit him what marriage actually means.
Okay.
Or the totality of what marriage is supposed to be. And I think when he really learned how monumental of a thing it is, bro got cold feet.
How you get cold feet and you ain't proposed to nobody?
So I don't think my man's lied, but I think when he initially had that conversation, he was
lied.
not ready.
My mother told me, when people show you who they are, believe them. If you're going to tell me all these sweet nothings, I'll believe you at first. But if you tell me that you lied about something, I'm going to believe that as well.
I mean, If the motherfucker say he lied, he lied. I don't know what else to say.
Period.
I want to defend my man's over here, but if he said he lied, that's kind of
We can
it.
see that. We are almost to the finish line.
Wait, is that like an ad lib, or it actually says that in
That's
the thing?
me. That's me.
Okay, so you're not just reading verbatim from the screen.
That was
You're
me.
misleading our audience and myself.
No, but that was for me.
That's
So,
blatantly dishonest.
anywho, I'm devastated, she says.
Oh, so we're back to the
Yes. I'm devastated. He left for his stepmother's house, and I don't know when he'll be home. I cannot take another sleeping pill or my heart will stop. But I can't sleep a wink. I literally spiked 100-degree fever and spent all night sweating and freezing. I had no idea it was possible to be in so much pain. It makes you physically sick. This person is the bedrock of my life. We have always had rock solid confidence that we can trust each other, be vulnerable around each other, and be our full, authentic selves without inhibition or fear of judgment. We share everything together and we are best friends. Hours ago, I had the most beautiful and solid relationship in the world. Now, I don't know if we're going to break up. I'm reeling. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back by my safe space. The earth fell out from under me, and I don't even know what to think anymore.
Not the earth.
What do I even do or say to save this? Was I too strong in voicing my desire to get married
Sounds like it.
that I scared him off?
Yep.
Has anyone else gone through something similar?
Probably. Not me though.
You haven't? Mm-mm. And then she says, TLDR, my boyfriend of 5 years held in all his fears about marriage and commitment, and they all exploded out at once. And now our amazing and healthy relationship could completely sink out of nowhere. So I think those last questions, everyone, as you're listening, think about it to yourself. She says, what do I even do or say to save this? Honestly, in this situation, I don't think begging or pleading to have someone. Why are you looking like this?
So, to speak to my initial reaction, you said don't beg. So I made that reaction because I was like, that shouldn't have even been on the table. We don't beg to be with somebody. Mm-mm. What the hell? I feel like it's very important in order to be in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, that you have to understand the power you bring into that space. And I think if you ever get to the point where you are begging someone to be with you, that means you have lost your understanding of yourself. And if that's the case, then the relationship is doomed to fail anyway. So like begging should never be on the table ever.
Well, she never said she was going to beg, but I think essentially she's asking herself and the audience, what can she say? Is there anything that she can do or say to save this? I think at some point, if the boy has, he's gone to his stepmom's house, meaning he needs physical time apart from you or your relationship. So it's almost like, would you say that's avoidance in a way? That he's not staying to, I don't want to say resolve the conflict or even necessarily communicate about it, but he's just left.
I think there has to be a certain level of self-awareness and self-reflection in order to be able to resolve a conflict with another person. So if him taking himself away from that space is allowing him to understand himself more and what he wants in that relationship, I think that's a much better alternative as opposed to staying in the household and potentially making a situation worse, whether by them fighting or maybe making promises that he truly cannot keep, because that's what got him to this point. So a temporary separation from the person to really give you the opportunity to find out what you want, I think that's actually a very mature decision to make. Now, if he never comes back, that is avoidance at that point. I think they both need to sit down separately first and then together and ask themselves, what do they want out of this relationship? What do they want? If old girl, what she's looking for is marriage or somewhere in the near future, and he is obviously not there, then why are you trying to save this relationship? You have the answer what you should do. Y'all should just go your separate ways, and that's kind of it. Now, if you ask yourself, are you okay staying with this person who you love, and it sounds like that love is kind of reciprocated as well, if you can stay with this person under the knowledge that this may not lead to marriage in the near future, might not lead to marriage at all. And truly understand that and not have that conflict with your core values and what you're looking for. Because you also don't want to settle. Because if you settle, eventually this is going to come back up and you're not going to be happy. And at 26, you're too young to not be happy in a relationship. You're truly too young. So it's like, you have to ask yourself, what do y'all want? And if there's a disconnect, then you shouldn't be trying to save the relationship. That should kind of be it. Go your separate ways, and kind of how it goes. That's another heartbreak that you gotta just heal from.
I'm over here thinking you preaching.
I felt that.
Oh goodness.
I felt that. Yo, I should be an MFT or something. That was clean.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us on that wild ride of relationships and marriage. I really want to relate the story back to Brandon and I's relationship. I'm a 25-year-old female.
Oh, you trying to get personal?
Yes, we are getting personal.
Okay.
I'm a 25-year-old female. The boy in the story, he was also a 25-year-old male, and she was 26. How old are you again?
I think about 23, 22.
Stop the cap. How old are you?
27.
You are 27. So Brandon and I, we have a 2-year age difference. We're not married, just like the couple in the story. And I'm just thinking, placing myself in his shoes or even her shoes, for me, marriage is surrounding me everywhere. And I feel like we are at that age. Our high school friends, they're getting married. They're working on their second kid. And I'm sitting here like, I'm just trying to book my next flight. And my mom obviously wants a grandchild. My siblings are asking me when I'm having kids, and I'm just like, pump the brakes.
Hey, y'all, she just went to Miami. She's on her way to New York. She ain't thinking about no kids.
Okay, but I was getting flued out by my JOB.
I'm going to be a single father at home.
Stop. He's
cooking meals and dropping off at daycare by myself.
You said you were going to be a med student, right? Dr. Bay?
Theoretically.
Theoretically. Boy, you locked in. This for life. You are locked in. But no, in all seriousness though, going back to us being unmarried. So he has 2 best friends and one of them is already married. The other one just proposed. They're getting married next March. And we're kind of the only couple in the group who's not married. And when I tell you, just imagine the feeling, just like the girl and the guy in the story they mentioned when they were with their family and they're talking about planning their wedding, and that stressed the boy out so much. Honestly, for me, it doesn't stress me out. It gives me something to look forward to, and it's exciting. But also, too, it's kind of like that feeling of I'm the only one out of the group, but everyone runs their own race. Right now, I'm in no rush. I want to be financially stable to plan a wedding and like have the whole experience without feeling like, oh, we have to get married just because everyone around us is getting married and our family wants us to get married. But I think when you do it on your own terms, it's always a better result. But Brandon, he's the only male in his friend group who's also not married. So
that is
how are you
not
feeling?
That is not true.
No, in your smaller friend group.
But
maybe. I'm talking
but in my
Brandon,
larger friend group, no, let's not play. Come on.
No, but that's a vital friend group in your life right now.
It is.
And I feel like that's a friend group that we always hang around. And something that's important to note, a lot of times as we get older, we're starting to hang out with couples more frequently as a unit. Typically, it's us and 2 other couples. It's us and 1 other couple. When we have game nights, we don't just invite one person. We're inviting a couple. Is that not true?
That's true. But you also shouldn't be getting to marriage for a game night.
What are you talking about?
I'm not sure how the couple example for who we invite to game nights was relevant to the marriage conversation.
You don't have to, obviously, you don't have to be married to be invited to the game night, sir.
It sounds like it. Hey, if we don't see a ring on your finger, you can't walk through that door.
Well, I can't go to my own house then because
Uno isn't for single folks. You better bring your partner. What's happening?
that's different. I just feel like on a regular basis, we do typically hang out with couples more frequently. Yeah. Even I have a best friend in Las Vegas, a couple. His friends down here, couples. Even your guy friends who aren't in that group, couples. Who do we hang out solo? And when we have those solo friends who come over, it's a really large function.
Your cousin?
She gonna hear this. Remember that.
You asked me the question, I answered.
She gonna hear this.
She stay pulling
She is, but also too, like, that's family. That's like pull up.
They all family.
They are, but it's not on that level of, dang, I didn't put the food away tonight. You can still pull up, though.
But to answer your question, how do I feel about being the only male in that framework?
Or even, too, how do you feel about your parents got married around your age? So putting yourself in their shoes, how does it feel to maybe not even be near that level of getting near marriage at this moment?
Oh, we ain't even near. Damn.
No, wasn't your mom like 26?
No, you said we're not even near that level. I said, damn, that's news
No,
to me.
we are near, but
Hold on. Am I the girl in the story? Hold on. Whoa.
We're not there yet. Slow your roll. Not ready for marriage.
Hey, y'all seeing some real unpacking on this podcast. But you know, in terms of my parents, I actually never quite thought of that.
How old are your parents? Or not even how old are they?
When they got married, they were 20. They were 27.
Both of them?
My dad was 27 or 28, and my mom was 26 or 27, around my age, either give or take a year. Never really compared myself to them though, because like my life trajectory has been very, very different than theirs, and also military cats. You know what I'm saying? They you know what I'm saying? They lock it down a little early, but sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. But I think for me, just a larger conversation, like if you came to me and talked to me when I was 25 about marriage, like I was not ready. And his initial response with kind of panic, he went to panic mode. I get it. I do. Because if your marriage as you should approach it, it's a giant concept. Anyone who comes into it not thinking that it is, or kind of like coming at it kind of nonchalantly, that's not good either.
That's a red flag.
That's a major red flag. I would hope anybody who approaches the subject of marriage understands what it's meant to represent. So if he came to me at 25, I would have been scared shitless. I would have. Now, where I'm at now, I'm not 25. I'm 27. Like that idea. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? I'm mature now. But yeah, like that idea no longer, it doesn't cause panic because I'm now at that point where I'm okay with that concept. But that didn't come because I was pressured into it. That didn't come because I was strong-armed into it. Quite the opposite. If anybody had tried to really force, like, you have to do this, that would have been the immediate eject button. Because that
you just ejecting people.
Hey man,
what?
But like, and this goes for my man's in the story and any other male in general. Like any person in general, goes both sides of the coin. You can only get to that point when you're ready to get to that point. And no one should ever try to tell you when you shouldn't be ready for that. And I think that's something I had the privilege to do at 25. And I'm so appreciative of it because now at 27, I have a very different outlook on things because I was able to come into myself, realize who I was as a person and what I want out of a relationship. And that comes just from time and really being able to grow in your own shoes. And no one can force you to do that. You have to do that.
I agree. That is very true. I think even me, myself, like I mentioned before, right now, it is grind mode for me. And when I was 21, I wouldn't necessarily say I was afraid of marriage, but it was not a thought, at least not at 21. And I know a lot of people, they get married after high school, maybe even some during high school, some in college. And I just think my own personal trajectory, I'm not comparing that to anyone else. I think what me and Brandon have, everyone's always mentioning how much fun we have. And it's an emphasis on that. They always say like the cupcake phase dies down. And I won't say like, oh, we're still in the cupcake phase. But some moments I'm like, wow, it's been 5 years and I still feel really giddy and really excited at times.
Hey, y'all, don't trust the cat. That girl be cussing me out behind closed doors.
I sure do. But also, too, other days I really do enjoy you. Blink twice.
Help!
I'm serious, though. Sometimes what are some things I do when you're like, oh, I know she likes me today?
Hey, y'all. So Amber, like, this is the easiest gauge on how she's feeling me at the moment. So when she likes me, and it could last for a few minutes, could be a day if I'm lucky. She'll follow me around the house, right? So like I could be, I'm a med student, I'm always studying. I could be just sitting there studying. You look over your shoulder, she's just there, just picking out from the side of the door frame, just like, hey.
I'm a leader.
I go to the bathroom, she's right behind me, like, hey, what you doing? Now when she cannot stand me because I have made her mad for anything, and I'll be honest, I can be annoying, I get it, but when I have annoyed her, she cannot be bothered. She is just somewhere off, probably in bed, just like do not be bothered. So that is a pretty easy gauge on that one.
Well, you don't have to cap. Like I mentioned, there are some moments where he just gets on my last nerve, and believe me, I can't even count him. I can't count him in the thousands no more.
That's because you're not good at math.
No. Okay. Anyways, I can't even count him because it's been so long.
That's why
he pushes my buttons so much. But like I mentioned before, like I'm on my own timeline, so I'm not gonna say I'll wait for you forever, Jack. That's not what I'm gonna do.
Jack, like from Titanic.
Yeah.
What's his name, Jack?
I think it's Jack.
The woman that let him drown in that ocean when there was plenty of room on that door.
We're not going to get into Titanic. That's a whole nother episode.
That is who we are trying to put on the pedestal.
That's a whole nother episode, Brandon. But I'm serious. I'm also not the type. I'm not going to be 40 years old waiting around for him to marry me. Because also what's important to me is I do want to have children one day. And I do have to be married.
Baby,
that's
40,
just my own rule.
Baby, 40 is the new 23. What's happening?
Well, I got some news for you, boo. You better let me know. Be transparent. Don't be 25M up in that story. Let me know now. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us on the very first episode of the Keep It Cute pod, where we're always going to keep it cute. Thank you to my guest this week, Brandon Towns.
Whoop, whoop.
And you will catch me next week. Good night.